My wife is denying we're married and wants to be called my girlfriend. I'm confused. My wife, 33 female, and I, 29 male, have been married 4 years now, coming on 5. We have generally had a good relationship and a good marriage. We had a reasonably expensive wedding, which we're still paying for. I got the bill every month to prove it. My wife took charge of planning the wedding, so it was to her tastes. She seemed to enjoy it at the time, and for the first few years of our marriage, she would look back at the wedding with me happily and without issues. In recent months, I've noticed that my wife's attitude to A, our wedding, and B, our marriage itself has shifted. It began by her, I thought jokingly, referring to herself as my girlfriend. She told me to buy her a girlfriend card for Valentine's Day rather than a wife one, for example. I thought she was just playing around at first, but this behavior has only escalated. 2 months ago, my wife stopped wearing her wedding ring. I was understandably upset and asked her if there was something wrong. She told me everything was fine, and she just doesn't like the sensation of jewelry on her hands. My wife has never liked rings and jewelry, so this could be the case. But when we were with friends, my wife will get upset if I talk about her as my wife rather than just a girlfriend. She will go as far to interrupt me if I'm talking or telling a story to correct me on our relationship. Initially, this was something our friends laughed at, but now everybody just finds it understandably awkward. One of our friends was talking about their own wedding, which is scheduled for early next year. They asked for advice from my wife how she'd planned ours, and my wife responded with, "What wedding?" When our friend continued talking about the table decorations my wife had used, my wife visibly teared up in front of the whole group and had to step outside. There is definitely something interesting going on here. It seems as though she has some sort of delulu. Her mind just can't comprehend that she has gone through this major event in her life. Later that evening, I asked her directly if she has a problem with our relationship or if I'm doing something wrong in our marriage. She assured me that everything is fine between us. From my perspective, outside of this issue, our relationship is as strong as ever. We're considering kids in the near future. Our sex life is great, and my wife recently suggested we get matching tattoos as a renewal of our love. Is there any advice anyone can offer on why my wife might be acting like this, and what should I do? First story, and it's already a heart-wrencher. I was expecting cheating, regrets from a partner, but this is something a little bit on a different level. What it really feels like is there's some level of disconnect from how she's perceiving reality. I don't know what I would advise this man, but I think that she needs to go to a doctor, a therapist. There's something underlying that's definitely wrong here. Unless there's maybe something more that OP hasn't told us, but there's nothing else in the post here that could explain anything else that could go wrong. I started to cheat on my wife, but stopped halfway through. Do I still tell her? My wife and I have a great relationship. I can't say I have any real complaints. We've been together for 5 years, married for 2 of those, and up until now, I would have said I would never stray. I was away for work last week, and while I was in the hotel, a young woman, 21 female, sat next to me and began to flirt with me. I was extremely flattered by the attention. I have to admit, it was a real ego boost to be flirted with by someone so young, as I've started to get that middle-aged dad bod, and I've been feeling like I'm losing my look a bit. After a bit of talking, the woman invited herself back up to my hotel room where we began to have sex. For me, it was all about the thrill of being desired by someone other than my wife, especially by a very young woman. I was slightly drunk, and I figured I'll probably never get the opportunity to sleep with a 21-year-old again. But the thrill wore off very quickly as I realized that I wasn't enjoying myself. This girl was not good in bed. Yeah, lack of experience. She basically just laid there and starfished. Oh no. Sometimes she would pull herself into what she thought was a sexy pose, but that was it. She didn't seem interested in me at all. It might as well have been a human dildo because she seemed more interested in herself and how sexy she thought she was. Sex with this guy's wife has always been amazing. When he's with his wife, she's all over him, talking to him, telling him how hot he is, grabbing him, touching him, getting on top, and so on. I feel like the hottest guy in the world when I'm in bed with my wife. With this girl, I felt like I could leave the room and she might not even notice, let alone care. She seems like she wanted the ego boost of a guy finding her attractive. I couldn't stay aroused, and I stopped about 10 minutes into it and asked her to leave, which she did. I didn't come. I just took a shower and then called my wife to hear her voice. He has to add the I didn't finish there just to, I don't know, victimize himself or validate that he did something not bad. It's yeah, okay, buddy. Now I'm back home, and so far I haven't told my wife about any of it. There's a guilty part of me that says I should because she deserves to know. But another part of me says, why should I torpedo our happy marriage and cause her pain for something that I didn't even enjoy and will never do again? Yeah, but how can you know that, man? You already opened the floodgates. Once that box is open, then putting it back inside is very difficult. All it did was prove to me that I want my wife more than anyone else. I want to do the right thing, but I genuinely don't know what the right thing to do is here. I know that I'll never ever stray again. Should I tell her or keep it to myself? Oh, and a TLDR at the end, bro. Come on, at the top next time. This honestly feels like a major cop-out. If that 21-year-old wasn't bad in bed, would he have continued? Who's to say? I'm going to assume probably. I also don't really know how I feel about him saying that she ego boosted this situation when he admittedly did the same. Yeah, I mean, everyone will view cheating differently, but in this regard, he slept with another person. That is, hands down, that you've cheated. So how do you want to deal with that? Are you going to tell your wife? Are you going to keep that inside? That's going to be a little bit more of an internal strife. You know, I'm always going to be a person that comes from a place of honesty, but not everyone does that. Lots of people out there are going to be selfish and care about themselves first. It's the world, it's reality, it's what we do. Yeah, he didn't stop because he was feeling bad, it stopped because it felt bad. Caught my wife trying to cheat with my friend from her iWatch? So last night my wife of 7 years decided to have a chill out night. After dinner she went to the den and was watching her programs while I flitted between watching the Spurs football game and doing some odds and ends that I had planned. Next thing I know, she got the wine out and has had 2 bottles of the stuff. At around midnight I went to check on her and see she was out cold on the couch. I went to scoop her up when her iWatch thing buzzed and a message popped up on the screen. It said something along the lines of, haha, I can't do that, my name would knock 7 shades of shit out of me. The little tongue face too. I wondered what that was all about, so I pressed on it, and it was a conversation between my wife and a friend of mine. Now, I wouldn't say this guy's a close friend of mine, but he's someone I've played five-a-sides with for years, drank with, and have known since we were teenagers. We used to call him Jacket Holder because when we got into scraps as teens, he'd always be the guy holding the jackets while everyone else went for it. Right, so as I said, I pushed into the conversation while this thing is still attached to her wrist and scroll up to the top, and as far as I can tell, it's him that contacts her first, unless she's deleted. There's a lot of flirting and wink-winking going on, but nothing that could outright say was cheating. Then I get to last night, and when she's drunk, she starts openly begging him for sex. I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm paraphrasing here because I can't remember the exact words, but she was saying stuff like how much she had always wanted him, how no one would ever find out if he did want to do something, and the last one, that killed me. She was great at keeping secrets. I tried to scroll on her watch, but couldn't find any other messages, and I don't know her phone passcode. I put her in her bed and just sat in the kitchen in shock until I fell asleep. Then got up for work at about 5:30. When I went to get in my work van, I just slunked down on the wheel and realized I couldn't face it. So I went back in the house, grabbed a half-drunk bottle of vodka, filled it to the top with Coke, and went on a walk down the railway line. We live beside a lot of woodland and a discussed railway line that goes for miles, and I've walked about half the length of it. I'm sitting under a railway bridge like a freaking troll right now, just seething at the whole thing. You'd probably think there was a fire going from about a mile away due to the steam coming out of my ears. So, what do? I don't even want to speak to her. I can't even bear to look at her after reading that stuff. It was like a dagger through my heart. I just feel like every morsel of love I had for her was evaporated into thin air after reading her begging like that. Gross. I honestly want to ghost her, man. If I could, I would never speak to her again. The whole I'm great at keeping secrets was the thing that really got me through. Like, who even are you? It reeks, but it's a case of how far down the rabbit hole do I want to go. I don't care if I'm being honest, I'm just done. I never felt so betrayed and disgusted in my life. The thing is, I've invested so much in her, not just as a partner, but as a person. I loved her so much and thought her personality, and by extension my personality, reflected that of good people. To realize she's a backstabbing snake makes me feel like a snake. I feel like a worse person than I was yesterday. The only way I can describe it is for someone you looked up to, took advice and life lessons from, to suddenly find out they were a PDF file or a graper. Or just a downright creep. Your entire perception of yourself and who you are would be shattered because you took on board what they've said and invested time into a creep. Oh no, I'm rambling nonsense. I do apologize. No, I could only imagine, especially if this guy is sitting there writing this the morning that he found this out, the day after, I guess. Yeah, you don't have time to process it. And I guess this is him processing it. He's going down, he's reading everything, and he's going over his own words as he sits underneath that bridge like a troll in sadness. I'm lucky that our house is owned by my parents, who 6 years ago moved to a retirement village, and we moved in. The house will be bequeathed to me when they die, but I don't and hopefully won't own it for a long time. They couldn't be bothered with the upkeep and all the problems, etc., and wanted to see out their final days in peace, so when we do divorce, my soon-to-be ex won't be getting her hands on it. So, what do I do then? I'm honestly thinking of just not saying a word and throwing her right out. Also, while walking here, it went through my mind to get my mates who's a locksmith to quietly change the locks today. I could feed her an old garbage about something from the doors being broken. She won't care what's going on anyways as long as I'm about. And after he's done, lock the front door and tell her to come out and look at something out the back. When she comes out, just run back in and lock the door behind me. That sounds really childish though, doesn't it? Seriously though, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm staring at a bottle right now and my life feels like I've been ripped apart at the seams. As for that prick so-called friend of mine, there's no doubt he was up to something here. There's also no doubt I wouldn't have caught wind of this at all, so I'll be seeing him very soon. Never mind holding jackets, he'll be holding his face. Ooh, another TLDR. God, at the bottom, man, come on. I've already read everything. We got an update, but not too much longer later. I don't think he's actually done anything yet, where he says, have went to a friend's house to calm down. I threw the vodka away. Nice, man. She's been texting me asking me where I am as my work van is still in the driveway. I text her saying there's a problem with the engine, so I got a lift to work. I'm gonna make my move tonight. The existential crisis is probably the scariest thing that this guy's going through in my mind. To have this idea of someone or this image of reality and to have it so quickly torn away from you is very difficult. I could only imagine what his mind is going through now. I'm sure we've all been through similar experiences, but hopefully this guy does get off the vodka, gets more water in him, and continues on with his life. Cheating fiance. Let me start from the beginning here. Yesterday, I met my fiance at our wedding venue for our 4-month out meeting to finalize details. We drove to the venue separately because she was leaving straight from work. Towards the end of the meeting, she let me know her friend was dropping off her rental car and needed a ride home and asked if it would be okay. I said yeah, thinking nothing of it as it wasn't that far from our home and I know her friend well. I get home and tried to get in touch with her for the next 3 hours. No answer. At approximately the hour-and-a-half mark, I texted her friend and asked if she had made it to her okay. I was pretty worried. My fiance ends up coming home and says sorry it took longer than expected. She hung out with her friend for a bit before leaving. Okay, no biggie, just let me know next time please. Her friend got back at me a few minutes later and says, sorry, I couldn't make it to the venue, didn't see your fiance tonight. Oh shit. I asked her why she would say this, and she said she didn't know she can't control what her friends say and walked outside. That is a major red flag right off of the bat. First off, 2 corresponding stories, and the one won't even discuss it, they got caught. I'm sketched out AF by this point. I've never done this, but I looked at her phone records. Yeah, I did, and I don't regret it. I saw that when she went outside, she called her friend that had texted me right after she went outside. I also saw an hour-long call with a number I didn't know on the way to the venue. I asked her what rental place they went to, and multiple other questions. She had quick answers, and they seemed legit. I thought, maybe I'm crazy here. I need to chill and sleep on it. This morning, I asked her to please see the text from her friend asking her to pick her up, and I would apologize for questioning her the previous night. And clearly, she says no. I said when I caught up to you yesterday and on the way to the venue, I saw you were on the phone. Who was that? Oh, that's the friend I picked up later on. That's when I knew for a fact she was lying. I said I looked at her phone records and knew that wasn't true. She then changed her story to say, oh, I needed to meet up with a coworker to discuss a patient. Who's the coworker? And why couldn't you discuss that over the phone? I need to show him the techniques in person. His name is Michael. Okay, I'm sketched out beyond belief at this point. We never lie to each other. I asked to see the text with Michael. She said she wouldn't let me. I said, why not if there's nothing to hide? Are you having an affair? Do you not want to be together anymore? She pauses and proceeds to tell me all the things that are wrong with me. I work too much, I don't spend enough time with her, don't listen. I'm astonished at this point. All of this is news to me. I put 2 and 2 together at this point, and I know something sketchy is going on. I again ask her to see the texts. It took about a half hour of convincing to see the texts, and they were crazy. Sexual in nature, and a lot of talk and smack about me. Also, she wanted to be with him and how they're essentially in love. She started this job a month and a half ago. He's her coworker. He's also 15 to 20 years older and divorced with multiple kids. I've been financially supporting her for the last few months as she got back on her feet and was working extra so she wouldn't have to pick up a part-time job. We own a house, which we both live in with 3 dogs and a horse. Sorry for the novel, I'm a bit beside myself right now. I didn't see this coming and we were going to get married in 4 months. Any advice would help. First thing that comes to my mind is maybe she got those marriage fears and went to cling on to the first thing that kind of led her, but still, come on, you're about to get married. Is that not something that you care about whatsoever? Like I said before, opening the box, once it's out, it's not going back in or it's dang near impossible. So if she's doing this before the wedding has even happened, then get out, run as fast as you can in the opposite direction. There's an update. As an update, I was finally able to sit down with her tonight and go over this. Again, she came in trying to blame me for what she did, trying to justify the cheating and lying as a direct result of my lack of communication and listening. She said she wouldn't have had to talk to this guy if I had been listening better. I spent too much time in the office working and don't dedicate enough time to her. I tried to explain that I was putting in extra hours and try and support her and the family financially while she was struggling so she wouldn't have to go get a part-time job. She said she would have rather gotten a part-time job, which makes no sense to me. She was under the impression that because this was short-lived, 1 week, she says, and they only made out once, that we could move past this. Hey, maybe some people can. You have to have that conversation at least. Fuck. If something does happen, then, at least talk about it. But moving on from past that is quite a challenge. When I brought up the text where she was trashing me and talking sexual with him, she deflected hard, and I got nowhere with that. I told her that I'm not the reason that this is happening. She went too far and should have communicated with me or thought about the implications first. That I can never trust her again, and this is all because of her actions. Whether she wants to try and justify this as my fault is up to her. At the end of this part, I got a bit calmer. I said, listen, we just really need to figure out the house we own jointly and the 3 dogs. We came to the conclusion that either I stay and buy her out, or we'll sell and get new places. The dogs, one of us will get 1, the other 2 to be determined. So that's where this left off tonight, and we'll continue to keep you all posted on progress. Curious what you would do about the house. Financially, I can support it alone, but it's nearly 3,000 square feet and 5 acres of land, which was bought solely to have her horse. She's taking the horse when she leaves and boarding it at a barn. Yeah, wow, man, I'm really sorry. Honestly, again, better that this is happening all before the wedding than after. Like, at least kids aren't involved. It's just dogs. And the blaming him for all of her actions really goes to show that she would have made a horrible partner anyways. Without any sort of self-validation or reflection, then what's the point of even being with another person? My mom had an affair 18 years ago. I, 18 male, am the product of it. My dad just informed me of all of this and told me he will not pay for my college, while my siblings got their college experience paid by our dad. Pretty much the title. I have no idea how to process all this, and I'm completely unprepared for what lies ahead. Both my older brother and sister went to the same college. My brother graduated 2 years ago. My sister is set to graduate in 2 years. Both had their college paid for by our dad. Dad paid all their college expenses, including rent, food, their cars, pocket money, you name it. My brother has a job now, his own place, lives together with his fiance, and has his life together. My sister already has a good paying job, and my dad still pays for almost everything for her. I got accepted to the same college, which was always the plan, and was looking forward to talking to my parents about the next step. I asked them to help me the same as they did for my siblings. I always assumed they had money put aside for my college the way they had for my siblings. Instead, I was met with a story about my mom's cheating, how I'm the result of her cheating, and how my dad is not willing to support me anymore moving forward. Dad told me that mom had 18 years to let me know and prepare me for the future, but obviously she never did. He said it was never his place to say anything since I'm not his son, and didn't want to interfere with mom's parenting. Apparently my grandparents know I'm not dad's biological son, but they haven't bothered to tell me anything either. My siblings had no idea, and they're as surprised as I am because there was never a hint of anything being off. I might be naive, but I always thought I had a great relationship with my dad. We go to see sports together, we go fishing together, he tutored me when I had difficulties with math. Dad's an engineer. He taught me to drive. I never got a hint he stores resentment towards me. I mean, he gave me my name and has explained what my name means, and he was very proud of it. It's a story he tells from time to time. He likes to talk about stuff like that about me. My mom has never said a word about anything, and apparently she was supposed to have the talk with me, but she never did. I feel abandoned and unprepared for what lies ahead. I'm not even sure I'll be able to go to college anymore. I always assumed my parents would pay for it. I never had a job, and I'm not sure what job I can even get to support me through college. I have no idea how to apply for loans. All my mom has done is cry and apologize, but nothing of substance. She has no idea how to help me. I don't even know if I'm welcomed at home anymore. It's all up in the air. I feel shame leaving my room, and if I'm asked to move out, I don't know where to go. I don't have any savings, maybe $400 put together. I'm angry at my mom and confused about where I stand with my dad. There's a man out there who is my father that never wanted anything to do with me. I feel rejected, and I have no idea what to do next in this situation. Anyone have any idea what to do here? Do I apologize to my dad? What do I say to him? I don't know. I've been stuck in my room these past few days reading and browsing Reddit. I have no idea what to do. When going through Reddit cheating stories, I didn't think that we were going to have one from 18 years in the future. Really curious what happened 18 years ago when this whole situation took place with the mom, which does also raise, did they actually ever do a proper DNA test? It really doesn't seem like the mom was going to be much help there. She kind of just fell victim to the father. And I hope the siblings can maybe be on his back, because to be out there alone in a situation like that is really tough. Oh, he has the grandparents, right? Maybe They didn't really tell him much. I mean, at least maybe they can still support him. But to be 18 and have your whole world flipped around is nuts. My husband has been cheating on me with my best friend and asked me tonight if I want to be in a throuple. Okay, let me start out by saying fork 2020. My husband lost his job in April and has been home while I've been working extra shifts, making about $12 an hour to keep us from going broke. Yeah, I've been out of the house more than at home. Yeah, I haven't been super active in bed because I'm really exhausted all the time from working 70 hours a week, standing on my feet all 70 hours. I thought he would appreciate that I'm working, so we have things like food and a place to live. Instead, he and my best friend have been forking while I've been at work. She lost her job too. They've always gotten along with each other and I've never felt jealous or threatened that they had hung out together, just the two of them over the years. One very drunk night in 2009, she and I did make out, but it was a one-time thing and I didn't enjoy it. I thought I could trust them and that they were just friends. Obviously, I'm an idiot. Enough backstory. I came home tonight and found them snuggling on the couch watching TV, like a spooning position, but it was very obvious it was intimate. They didn't panic, but she sat up. Then he sat up. At this point, I felt my stomach turn into a rock and I felt dizzy. No word of a lie. My body went into some kind of shock. I just walked to the bathroom and closed the door and sat on the toilet. I just started crying after I have no idea how long. I threw up. I heard them whisper talking, but couldn't make out what they were saying, but then they knocked on the bathroom door and asked if I was okay, and I told them obviously not. They didn't backpedal or deny anything. They didn't admit to forking then, but my best friend said we should all probably talk about what's going on. We should all probably talk? Well, I guess she is the best friend. She is relatively involved, but like, first off, why is a friend involved in your relationship, right? I stayed in the bathroom. We talked through the door. That's when my husband said, okay, yes, we didn't want you to find out like this, but we've been in a relationship since July. You've been in a relationship? He said some more things, but I honestly can't remember them because my ears were kind of ringing, and I kept thinking about him saying relationship. This wasn't a fling or a one-night stand. I could maybe forgive that, but a real relationship? No, don't forgive that in the first place. Isn't marriage supposed to mean just him and I are in a relationship? So he says whatever, and then my best friend says, so what do you think? I missed everything he said, obviously, so I told her that, and she said, so you missed the part about all three of us living together? After me asking what, my husband clarified that she could stay on the couch, but they'd keep each other company during the day, and I could be with her too if I wanted. She knows I don't want this because we would have made out more than that one time in 2009, right? I know she needs to move out of her place because no job equals no rent payment. I told her in the past she could always crash at my place, but I never meant like this. How could she not know that? Is my best friend an idiot? Am I an idiot? I need advice. Yes, tell me that I am the idiot for trusting them and having bad judgment and not doing my wifely duties. I own all those things. I just need help figuring out my next steps. I don't want to be in a throuple and I don't want to look at either of them. It's 3:30 a.m. and I can't sleep and I don't know what to do. I feel like I've been used. I don't even know if I leave if I still have to pay for my husband's expenses because he's not working, which would mean I'm paying for them to have a relationship, which idiot me has been doing since July, and I really hate my life right now. Okay, I was a little bit reminded at the end there, he's broke. Why not just leave? What makes me feel so bad is how this person is demoralizing themselves. She is clearly a smart and dedicated person, working 70 hours a week just to cover the relationship she's not even in. You got this, girl. Go and fight for yourself for a little while. She cheated and now wants me to move out of the house and everything else? Hi everyone, my partner of 11 years separated from me last week, and then I found out she's been sending photos to a guy, arranging dates with him, etc. I still live with this woman in a rental that I pay all the rent and bills on. She's also the mother to my 4-year-old daughter. We're not married, by the way, and we're located in the UK. Apparently the breakup is all my fault. I wasn't there for her, I didn't help enough, and wasn't a committed father. I love my daughter to the end of the earth. Admittedly, I could have done more around the house perhaps, but I also work 8:30 to 6 Monday to Friday and earn 6 figures a year, so my job is quite demanding, while she works 2 days a week part-time. My predicament is she split up with me and now wants me to leave the house. She says that because of the amount of money she earns, it's her only choice, and that if I stay, she'll be homeless, and so will my daughter. She cheated on me, separated us after 11 years, broke our family, and now wants me to leave. What on earth do I do? You gotta leave, man. She doesn't seem interested in you anymore. Time to move on. All that matters is that you get your daughter. And if she doesn't have a job or a place to take care of her daughter, I'm sure you're gonna get custody. I don't know what it's like in UK when it comes to child protection laws, but you seem like a good father, and I do hope that you'll be able to move on from this. I'm kind of seeing a bit of a trend here where people on r/relationship advice should actually be going to r/lawyers advice. I don't think that this is the place for their problems. Yeah, I'm all for the daughter staying with the dad and that cheating woman getting out of there. My girlfriend told me I'm really giving her a reason to cheat. How should I respond? My girlfriend, 18 female, recently told me that I, 18 male, am really giving her a reason to cheat. I'm trying to understand what might have led to that statement and how I should proceed. We've been together for almost 4 years, and while our relationship is generally happy, there have been some ongoing issues that haven't been fully resolved. The context for her comment seems to be related to a recent discussion about a research contest. I'm part of a research group that my girlfriend is also in. I wanted us to compete in this contest because our advisors expect us to participate. However, most of the group, including my girlfriend, didn't want to join because they were anxious about completing a full research paper by the end of September. My girlfriend specifically told me, "I'm not with you this time," which hurt because I've been feeling pressured after not winning a similar contest last year. I apologized for trying to push them, and after that, she made a post on her Instagram notes saying, "Suck up to other people." When I apologized again, saying it was for being a suck up, she responded with, "Thanks, you're really giving me a reason to cheat." Is that kind of how children think that relationships just end? Like, can they not just go their separate ways? Does it always have to be so dramatic? This isn't the first time she's mentioned something like this, but this time I feel more unsettled. Additionally, I've been focusing on my self-development lately, which might be causing some jealousy or tension between us. She usually encourages me when I feel down, telling me I'm skillful and not worthless, but now I'm confused about where we stand. How should I approach this situation? What could she be trying to communicate, and how can I address it effectively? I'm worried about the unresolved issues and whether they're affecting our relationship more than I realized. Bro's got the maturity of a 60-year-old, my goodness. Honestly, dude, just bail. Like, you're 18. If this is what you're going through at this point in your life, then you're way too far ahead, man. Go have some fun. Maybe it's a situation of them outgrowing the relationship. I mean, together for 4 years during all of high school. And if she hasn't already cheated, saying that it's going to be his fault that she does is kind of planning ahead of the time, right? I mean, and that's definitely where the fault is. If you're planning to cheat on someone, then just break up. I messaged my boyfriend's coworker because I think he wants to cheat on me with her. Is that okay? I, 28 female, visited my boyfriend's 28 male office because I had an appointment nearby. As I was about to enter the building, I saw him with a coworker. He pretended he didn't see me, but we met each other's eyes. I thought it was one of those walking meetings where they take walks while having discussions, so I didn't think anything of it. When I asked him who he was with, he said it was a work friend named Addie, a fake name. I remembered an Addie popping up on his Instagram notifications before, so I asked if it was the same person, and why he hasn't told me anything about a new work friend. As we know each other's friends, he told me to chill, and that if I'm thinking of something malicious, know that she's not his type. Bro, you're the one who's thinking of something malicious, not her, not at this point. She's just asking questions. I asked if I could see what they were chatting on Instagram about, and he said I was being toxic and that I was invading his privacy. So I said if it's nothing, why can't he just show it? He repeatedly called me toxic until I told him to stop. He told me that he needs some time alone, so I had to stay at my parents' house. We live together, by the way. I said no, but he said that he needs to think, and being by himself makes him think more clearly. Fast forward to today, 2 weeks from the incident. We went to a party and he got drunk that I had to walk him from the car to our bed. As I was about to get in bed myself, his phone popped up with a notification saying, "You up?" It was from the girl named Addie. I read the messages, and it turns out that they saw each other after work to see the city lights, watch a movie, and play mini golf. On the night he asked me to stay at my parents' house. The messages also indicated that he picked her up from her place. She doesn't know that we're together. Maybe, because from her online profiles, she seems very religious and set on her values. I messaged her. I told her I was my boyfriend's girlfriend, and I sent photos of my boyfriend and I together with timestamps on them. I told her that I knew when they went out, and I asked her not to message my boyfriend until I figured everything out. She never responded, but she removed my boyfriend from her followers a few minutes later. I'm scared to find out what could happen. If when he finds out what I did, we may break up. I don't even know if he's cheating. He downplayed it last time by saying you can have guy work friends, but I can't. I don't really know what to believe. Please help. I now regret messaging Addie. I'm typing all this at 4 a.m. I don't know what will happen when he finds out. You gotta follow your gut. What it seems like what's happening as she's typing this messages out is that she is going against her own instincts. If you really feel like something is wrong, you gotta explore that and just make sure that you feel right. And for an update, Addie replied hi. He didn't say that he has a girlfriend. We hung out twice, but it was just casual friendly hangout as far as for me. The first time we hung out was because I wanted to try this particular restaurant and he offered to take me, and second was just for a coffee. You don't have to worry about me, it was a friendly hangout until the end. Now he was moving with advance, but I didn't accept. I feel bad for you. I'm sorry this happened. I wouldn't have went out with him if I knew that he has a girlfriend and what he was doing. Now that I know, I won't be associating with him anymore. As another update, I asked if they saw the city lights and did mini golf, etc. She said this. He asked for a kiss by our last meeting, and then I rejected him. Also, you're welcome. Now these two need to break up. She needs to break up with him he clearly went on a date on 2. I mean, she even confirmed that he was behaving like a single man, so he was definitely portraying that image to this other girl, and he just left her behind. Nah man, let him go, girl.